Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern. and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Daytona International Speedway, as it's finally time. Speed Weeks have concluded here in Season 6 of the Duracell Cup Series, and we're ready now to kick off this season officially with the running of the Great American Race, Daytona 500. 80 laps await these drivers, a chance for immortality, potential chance to lock themselves into the playoffs, as so far, drivers that have won this Great American Race have gone 5 for 5 in taking part in the postseason to compete for the championship. Will the same be said here today? I'm Seth Cole, being joined by Dylan Poteet. Dylan, you've been here all Speed Weeks at Daytona, getting ready for the big one here today. Now it's time to go to work because the exhibition races are all out of the way. Points and playoff positions are on the line.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a little bit comfortable up here in the booth with you, especially this week. So, but I'm not sure. I'm also in third person as well because somebody may be on the racetrack. But anyway, it has been a very interesting speed week so far. Like I said, qualifying, we saw everybody with their own strategies on maybe seeing where they're going to end up for the dual races. We had two completely different races going on between Duel 1 and Duel 2, and weather changes and some craziness over down pit road. We had some crazy last lap racing for the win. And the front row survived as well. RJ Bishop and Levi McIntyre were able to keep their cars in one piece, and they retained their front row spots. And now it's really, there's no need to kind of hold back or be, cautious. Now it's all about going for the win now. The points are on the line. And like you said, a playoff berth for the winner of the Daytona 500 today to try to get them one step closer to the championship.
The closest we saw to a full field here at Daytona was, of course, our two previous duels on Thursday, but we had the field split in half, and they were racing it up like crazy with a 21-car field. Now we got all 42 drivers on the racetrack here for today's main event. We didn't see a caution, not to say we went without incident in the duels. We had that incident coming to pit road in duel number 2, but we didn't really see any incidents on the racetrack. Now that we've got this big field here, how likely is it that we see, especially in the early going, these drivers get aggressive, maybe see a big wreck, a caution come out here, or do these drivers kind of hang back and realize this is a long race? I mean, you can't win the race on lap 1, you can't even win it on lap 40, but you can certainly lose it.
That is true, and I mean, I could be the first one to say, like you said, that it's shocking we haven't had a single caution yet down here this week at Daytona. Absolutely mind-boggling. But the fact now that we have a full field here, that could change things up, and the weather honestly looks like the comparison maybe to duel number 2 is not sunny like it was before. It's got overcast again. That's really showed the drivers seem like they had more grip, a lot faster, and a lot more aggressiveness and craziness going on in the field. So I'll be 110% surprised if we do not have a yellow today. I expect carnage is what I'm basically saying at some point in this race. And it could happen as early, maybe lap 1, turn 1.
Well, we may find out sooner rather than later, because it's time to go down trackside for pre-race ceremonies and the command to fire up the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
So as the pace car leads the 42-car field off of pit lane, you're going to see on the left side of your screen the official starting lineup for today's Daytona 500. Front row, of course, was determined in pole day qualifying this past Sunday. The rest of the field, third place on back in the two Blame Share Insurance duels this past Thursday. And as we look at this lineup here, Dylan, there's obviously some big names that are back there that kind of expected to see a little bit more out of, especially in the dual races, but at the same time, we ended up seeing in those dual races drivers that were at the back be able to work their way up to the front, even up to the front of the field within 3-4 laps. Now, obviously, it's a bigger field. It'll take a little bit more time, but that should give those drivers that didn't get the best of qualifying results encouragement that they're still going to be competitive and be able to get up here out into clean air and lead some laps here.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I feel like we're going to definitely see what we saw in that second dual race, 3x3, maybe through the entire pack. It's going to be complete chaos for sure. Some drivers may even try to make 4 wide moves, which may or may not end in, chaos as well. But yeah, it should be interesting. And like I said, if they're going to take any chances, today is definitely the day, I think, because it says it's the first race of the season. It's the biggest race of the season, the Daytona 500. Only 2 drivers have won this race previously, and everybody's looking to try to win that. And then some are trying to do it in their first attempt, like our pole sitter RJ Bishop, who's never attempted this race before. So we'll see what happens. I honestly think this may end up being a survival race. We haven't seen a caution all weekend long, but I just have that feeling there are going to be a lot of amped up drivers today, and they're all going to be gunning for that one prize, and that's the Daytona 500.
40 of the 42 drivers that'll take the green looking for their first win here in the Daytona 500. 2 previous winners would be Carson Gum, who won this event back in Season 3, and Matt Haas, who is the defending winner of the Daytona 500. Pace car makes the left-hand turn to pit road. All the preparation has now come to a head. It's the blue oval of RJ Bishop getting us underway officially in Season 6 of the Duracell Cup Series.
Levi McIntyre didn't get the best start there, but RJ's going to quickly jump up in front of him there, kind of surprisingly. And Michael Norman trying to leave or go where he left off from his dual win, go right back to the front here under RJ. And like I said, I don't think it'll be very long. We're going to start seeing some 3-wide racing. It's going to get pretty chaotic here early in this race, I believe.
Noah Hendrickson looked like
There it is.
Yeah, looked like he was going to try and challenge Michael Norman for the lead, but Ryan Butcher says, "No, I'm going by you." Remember, Hendrickson ended up leaving make that Ryan Butcher out to try in dual race number 1. So you got to wonder if that's repercussions from Thursday.
Yeah, it could be, definitely, for sure. These drivers, they don't forget things. They're like an elephant. They remember everything, and even in a dual race, they remember what drivers did or did not do to them. And it's going to show it definitely, I think, today.
Going to bring this up early going. We ended up seeing drivers make green flag pit stops in the dual races, which was a 30-lap event, each one of them. That was because drivers were given half fuel capacity, so they had to come to pit road at some point in that race. We will see the fuel window stretch a little bit longer here today. I'm assuming somewhere around 20 to 25 laps. Might be able to stretch it to 30 laps. We'll have to wait and see, but they will be able to make it further in this race on a tank of fuel than they did in the duels.
And what we're definitely not going to have a lack of today is lead changes, for sure. Where he saw the 78, I think Ryan Butcher, I believe, led the first lap of the season. That's a bonus point. Now the points really matter, because now leading laps actually count towards it. And we see now Quentin Moore also is going to get that as well. But yeah, it's going to be comers and goers for sure in this race. And coming up the middle there is our one and only Mazda in the field for Fortnite Squad Racing.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back!
Oh, there it is.
Big wreck in the back. 4 or 5 cars.
Rick Johnson, Reese Banks.
Jesse Turner.
We got Jack Durnard. Oh,
that's
the
Nathan
34
Orman
there.
well.
Oh, man, Nathan Orman. Probably a fan favorite today down here in Florida with that Disney Plus scheme. Unfortunately, got caught up in that. And they're racing back. I don't know how they're going to get this all situated after the yellow, but we're going to see.
Samuel Ryder's going to jump up to the top, try and see if we can
drag
edge Reggie
race.
Fogelman here at the stripe.
Going to barely keep it in that
He'll
Ford. Now we got to get everybody situated.
Yeah,
here.
let's keep an eye on this, because who knows?
3x3. Oh, so the leader's in the wall. I think he just fell asleep there for a moment. I'm not sure.
If they can get to the back straightaway, I think they'll be okay. Ooh, careful there.
63 is wobbling around like something's wrong with that car. But again, they think these brakes are something new for these drivers as well. They're kind of sensitive, honestly. They kind of get loose really quickly under braking. Leader's trying. Ooh, 63 slicing back through there.
He's driving through.
He's driving through, and the McDonald's car's going like through the McDonald's drive-through to order the Big Mac. There you go. There's your plug for nothing, because we're not sponsored. We're just
we got
chubby.
one car that's already hit pit road. I think that was Jesse Turner in the 47. We'll follow up on that. That was 2 of the Lake Effect Autosports cars that got involved there, the 47 and the 44.
The the damage down the left side of the 44 back there. 93's got some scrapes as well.
Oh, wow. And Jesse Turner's day is already done.
Oh man, well, it was kind of an eventful week for him for sure. He qualified last, kind of worked his way up in the duel, had a chance to win it, and then fortunately gets caught up in a wreck here, not even 5 laps into the event.
This was at the back of the pack too. I mean,
And the qualifying was the issue as well. Like I said, that's what I was talking about. Some of these guys may have qualified in the front or the middle, and they may have dropped to the back. And this is we're in Calamity Corner. There's
Reese Banks was just never clear.
Oh, it actually comes out right across the 12. Oh man, Turner. I mean, he got turned right back into his teammate. And then the other 3 drivers were just innocent victims. Actually, honestly, 4 of them were innocent victims there. But that's a rookie there, Reese Banks, making a move there. I mean, you know,
is that a driver mistake or is that a spotter mistake?
I mean, it could have been a little bit of both. He may have thought he was able to clear down. He had a run, and there was a gap between the 12 and the 16 on the bottom, and he was trying to fill it in. He hesitated there, and that may have been the difference because he was trying to make sure he didn't hit Keith Batson. Yeah, that was just an unfortunate deal. And you take a teammate out as well. You know that's not going to go well in the team meeting on Monday, especially for new season with a rookie. Maybe a little bit too anxious there to make a move for the 44, and he was running fast.
Going for Jesse Turner.
Oh, I think the 44 just went to the garage.
And you would be correct, as did the 93 of Rick Johnson. We saw how strong the Fords were here in the early going, and kind of looked like they were going to be the manufacturer to watch. You had, what was it, I think 5 of them up inside the top 6 in our lineup there. Of course, swept the front row, won both of the duels, but just like that,
a lot of Chevys up there.
Yeah, just like that, their numbers are dwindling because that's 3 of them back behind the wall.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate too. A couple of them are rookies, like I said, Reese Banks and Rick Johnson, first race ever in the Duracell Cup Series, and their race is already over before even lap 5, and it's an unfortunate deal. And to say the 44 was one of the faster cars in his duel earlier in this weekend, so he probably wasn't happy about his qualifying. He dropped back. He's trying to make moves as well, but could have been simply a rookie mistake, or it could have been a spotter issue because it just kind of happened so fast. It's so hard to really determine how quick these the closing rate is for some of these cars. And like I said, you just have to make the move. If you hesitate like he did, things like that just unfortunately happen.
Well, we talked about the ability to work your way from the back of the pack up to the front of the field in the early going of this race. Samuel Ryder was the one that picked up the caution when it flew. He started this race from 31st, but that was a double file start to this race. Now we're going to be getting a single file restart. It'll be interesting to see if they end up going back to that double wide and 3 wide, because I've seen this so often, whether it be offline or online. I've seen where you end up having those pre-race jitters. The adrenaline is pumping when you take that green flag. You see an opening, you want to go for it. You get a run, you want to take it somewhere. Sometimes it takes an early caution to kind of snap these drivers back to their senses of, oh wait, this is a long race. I got to keep this thing still in one piece.
Yeah, we've had the only race we've had this weekend was the dual race, and it was only 30 laps, so that's kind of like a spread, honestly. But yeah, it's 80 laps. This is a long race. Now, these drivers are anxious to get to the front. They want to go up there, maybe try to control the race. But at the same time, you have to be kind of on the defense as well, because, like I said, something like that we just saw could happen so quickly and just take you out of this race before you really even have a chance to get into it. And I think some of these drivers are starting to get mindful of that. Now we've had a quick caution, and maybe it may calm down for a little bit, but I don't want to say that's the last caution of the day. I think we're far from that for sure.
Interesting that only drivers that came to pit road were the 34 and the 88, Nathan Norman, Jack Dunnard, who were involved in that incident. I would have thought that maybe some of the guys outside the top 10, top 15 might have come down pit road, if not anything else, topped off the fuel tank so that they can go a little bit further if we get into a long green flag run. But no, everybody that wasn't involved in the incident, nobody was a taker on pit road under this caution period.
Yeah, it'd be a good time also for these pit crews to get kind of more, practice and everything with the new single lug nuts and everything, just the new car itself and just the fueling and such and all that. I figured maybe some people toward the back, like you said, would have made a pit stop, just for practice, honestly. I mean, at some point, we probably going to have a green flag pit stop again. And we saw the dual races, you have to have a really good one and be up there whenever they happen, because it seems like that was the big kicker there that kind of split up the field nonetheless, and took some drivers out of contention just because of the pit stop.
All right, so we should have the lights go out atop the pace car this time, I do believe. We'll go back racing on lap 8 of 80. Rookies Samuel Ryder and Reggie Fogelman, they'll be the top 2. Matt Haas started this race from 37th. The defending Daytona 500 winner is now already up to 3rd. Dylan Young's Ford will line up in 4th, and then another former winner of this event, Carson Gum, will line up his Chevrolet Camaro in 5th. You got that Mazda of Nick Gunther, currently in the 6th position. Zachary Fitzwater in 7th. Austin LaPlante, Cody Lamas, and Quentin Moore are going to be the top 10 when we go back green. We've got 39 of our original 42 drivers still running, still on the lead lap. 3 drivers back in the garage area in the early going of this great American race. Rick Johnson, Reese Banks, and Jesse Turner, they will all be looking to mount a comeback when we get to Manassas next week.
Yeah, I guess the one positive of that, you can start getting a head start for the next race, but definitely this is not the race they wanted to get knocked out super early in this event, but I'm curious to see what kind of racer we're going to see here. And like I said, we got some rookies up toward the front. We got some the 2 and only former Daytona 500 winners up in the top 5. We got a nice mixed blend of drivers up here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. We'll see how the 63 reacts on this restart, and then kind of fall into play everybody behind them, how everybody kind of slices and dices here to get going.
The 3 other former winners of the 500 that are not in the field, worth mentioning. Carter Friesen was the inaugural winner back in Season 1. Cole Baker in Season 2. And Trey Wright in Season 4. Now, I mentioned this, I think, back in the duels, the fact that the 28 car with Trey Wright was in victory lane in Season 4. Caleb Fogler, one half of the co-defending champions in the 28 for Blue Oval Automotive. But at the same time, though, it was an entirely different car. We're now in the next-gen car, so yeah, the number is the same, the team is the same, but the car is entirely different. So you can't really look and say that Caleb Fogler has to perform the same way that Trey Wright did 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, it's definitely true. As we're back green here, it didn't take long for Ryder to just jump straight to the bottom there. They try to protect the bottom, and that's not even going to help him still, as Matt Haas is going to make it 3 wide under Fogelman and Ryder, not wasting any time to try to get the lead in that 8 car.
That is an impressive move there by Matt Haas. Apparently was definitely prepared for when the green flag flew. He's going to lead him off of turn 2. Now Dylan Young looks to the inside, and you talked about the more than likely going to see a lot of lead changes in this race, and I think a big part of that is because we didn't have any bonus points on the line for leading a lap or leading the most laps in the duels. But here today, if you lead a lap, it's a bonus point. If you lead the most laps, that's another bonus point. And as we get closer towards the playoffs, those bonus points for laps led, they could play a pivotal part into whether you're going to battle for the championship or not.
Yeah, that's very true. As we got a battle here, Nick Gunther is going to take the lead under Carson Gum. And yeah, it's definitely going to mean something for sure. And like you had mentioned, the former winners of this event all had qualified for the playoffs in the past. So that's definitely a true factor. And these drivers are hoping they maybe win today and keep that trend going. It's a good trend to have on your side, I guess.
Okay, so didn't I say that it takes a caution usually to snap drivers back to their senses? Not in this case. We're 3 wide, 5-6 rows deep.
Oh, and Cody Lamas here is trying to hang on to the lead from Jessica Shelton. And yeah, we're kind of back to where we were before. The 3x3 is starting to form again, and things start getting a little antsy here. As Sheldon is trying to control the draft. She's going to try to get a lap lead here, but Benjamin Miles on the inside, head full of steam right there with a push from the 80. Sheldon's going to lead that lap, and yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be like a revolving door of just new leaders, I think. Kind of get the lead and just shuffle it out, and then be back up there in about 5 laps.
Benjamin Miles
Cody,
was super strong in our preseason Thunder testing sessions at the few tracks that we went to. Really expected a lot more out of him here this week at Daytona. He was way down on the list in pole day qualifying. He ended up finishing dead last in his dual race, so he started 41st on the grid, but now up inside of the top 10 as the Toyotas make their way back to the front. The rookies, Noah Hendrickson and Laura Chung. And oh, we got a car in the wall back there. Did we have a wreck? No caution. That was the 39 of Keith Batson, and there's also Anthony McCurry. Yeah, McCurry's coming up the road. No, he's not.
Oh, that might be a penalty for the 61 there. I think
that is going to be a penalty. Cross the commitment line. We're still green.
The cobwebs are still being knocked out for Anthony McCurry. He hasn't ran in a while. He has a lot of damage to the 39, unfortunately, Keith Batson. And I think Kyle Matthews with the other car. They must have got stuck together there in the wall, but Batson looked to unfortunately get the worst end of it.
They must have all kept it pointed in the right direction, which is why the caution didn't come out, and they must have kept rolling as well. But that's a tough break in 2 ways, because you've got a few drivers now with damage, and you don't have a caution that's coming out to save them.
Oh, I was watching the 98 back there. He swapped lanes right in front of the 28 there. Fogler, I thought we were going to have a wreck there. Whew, that was close.
Teammate's going to drag race for that lap lead. Give it to the Duel 1 winner, Michael Norman. And now the inaugural champion, Season 1 champion of the Duracell Cup Series, Chris Dollerton, takes a turn out in front. But the worst part about the statistics when it comes to super speedway racing is you see the lead changes based off of who leads at the line. It doesn't take into account the lead changes that take place every lap, because I feel like we would double, if not quadruple, the lap, lead changes that there are in a race. I don't like how this looks
James
back
Wall,
here.
or that's Joshua Osborne.
Oh, and
there
the
we
wreck
go.
behind
That's
him.
one wreck. Oh, we may have a second one. Look out! Hang on, guys. There's already a yellow.
Give room, give room.
Oh my goodness. Oh no, I don't know if we're gonna make it, boys. This is not gonna work.
Oh, we're 4 wide through the triangle, and
they're still stuck together. The 89 to 27, nobody's giving it in.
can we sort this
We're
out,
still
please?
not. Oh, we have cars stuck together. This is like watching the truck race when they had 2 trucks stuck together. Oh my goodness.
It was crazy enough when we
please
ended up
stop.
seeing them 4 wide at Bowman Gray
Stop,
for the clash.
Stop. We're under yellow. Boys, we're under yellow. Where are
guys.
you going?
Well, Osborne's gonna get spun, but I guess
that could have been a lot worse.
that might have been the best case scenario.
I can't recall cars being stuck together for half a lap like that. Oh, look out. Oh, we got a checkup back there. Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. People brakes.
Shelton and Fogler. Oh, and now Matthews.
Still doing it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Anthony, let's think about this. Well.
Oh, that was a timely caution for McCrory. Keith Batson, just finding out, actually did go back behind the wall, and we're having more drivers that are heading back to the garage that more than likely were involved
Joshua
in this
Osborne is
incident.
coming back up. Not probably happy about the situation there with the 24 and I believe the 89.
Dylan
Probably
Pote
showed
out
his
in
displeasure.
front, leading this caution period, second
How did
caution
that
of
happen?
the day. Cole Deaver, Destin Bolin, I'm seeing on my telemetry, have gone back to the garage, so one can assume they were involved in that wreck over there in turn 3, as looks like most of our leaders are going to come down pit lane here under this caution period. Let's go back, take a look at what
RJ
happened.
Bishop staying out. Yeah, we had 2 incidents I think that should have been yellows, and then we had one that was a yellow.
Yeah, you guys have already seen the incident with Batson, McCrory, and company on the split cam. We're going to go back and look at what actually brought out the yellow, and I don't even really know who this started with, because I was so focused on Moore and Qualls, thinking that was where the wreck was going to be.
Benjamin Miles was around there, I think, where it happened. Yeah, he's 4 wide. He's under the 28 there, and he's on the outside of the 08, inside 28. That was a judgment call there, I think. I'm not really sure. I don't know if he knew they were 4 wide. Yeah, he squeezed in between them, and they all went the track. Squeezed Jessica Sheldon in the wall, Cody Lamas. There goes Qualls around. Deaver's in it. Zachary Fitzwater. There's Fogler again. Unfortunately, got caught up in that wreck. I'm not sure if Bolin got a piece of that. He's kind of been all over the place this race with incidents.
And Bolin was near the
He was
back
involved
of
in the
pack.
first one.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know if he had damage that he was trying to ride out this race or not.
There's a lot of damage to the right side of that Kellogg's Mustang.
Yeah, he was not involved.
Oh, he wasn't involved in this one. Yeah, I was looking up there. Sheldon got pancaked in the wall, and I think Lamas did as well. Benjamin Miles honestly didn't get a lot of damage, I don't think, in that wreck, even though he kind of started it.
Here's a look from the aerial.
Because everybody went up. Nick Gunther did a heck of a job saving, and so did Dylan Young.
In all honesty, I think Shelton and Lamas, they got squeezed up into the wall, but they didn't really sustain a lot of damage to the front. But we had that stack up on the back straightaway. I think if not for that, they might have still been okay. But now with a little bit of buckles on their hoods, I'm wondering how aerodynamically sound those cars really are going to be.
Fitzwater ran the back of Lamas up there against the wall. He got a lot of damage in the 66 to the front end of that car. Because he was kind of a couple cars back. Everybody kind of stopped. I don't think he saw the 13 up there. Actually, he slammed the back of Carson Gum. So Carson got some damage, and I think the 74 may have got minimal damage as well with Benjamin Snyder. And then, like I said, we didn't know who all got damage on the backstretch back there. It's kind of wild.
So caution out for the second time today. To your point, RJ Bishop staying out, so he'll be the one to lead us back to green. Dylan Poteet, Rob Evans, Chris Dollerton, and Levi McIntyre appear that they will be the top 5. And it would appear that the stack up we saw on the back straightaway It's taken just as much as of its toll as the 2 cautions, the 2 wrecks we've had that have brought out the yellow flag. We got another almost near half dozen drivers that are back in the garage area because of that. Jessica Shelton, Caleb Fogler, co-defending champ, Zachary Fitzwater, Cody Lamas, James Qualls, Benjamin Miles, all back in the garage area. So we're up, I think, now to an even dozen drivers that are not going to reach the conclusion of this race, and we haven't even made it a quarter of the way through.
Yeah, we're only lap 15 right now, working it. So yeah, this is it's an unfortunate deal. I mean, the first time these drivers are raced together with these cars and this big of a pack as well. I mean, it's not to come as a surprise. I think we expected some of this to happen, but I mean, you don't want to be on the wrong end of these wrecks. And I think the drivers still in it are thankful and counting their blessings for sure that they're still in this and still have a chance to win the 500. But I'm curious about this strategy with our pole sitter RJ Bishop staying out, because everybody just pitted now, and he's got, the tires. It's more about the fuel, I think, at the plate races that he has to worry about, because we could just start having a green flag run here, and he may have to pit early, and he'll be by himself, and that's not going to pan well for him, honestly, because the speed difference between a pack and one car, it's going to be an insurmountable difference. So
yeah, Bishop might be of the assumption that we will have another quick yellow, and then he'll be able to come to pit lane, because that 98 has not been to pit road the entirety of this race. So to your point, assuming that my fuel numbers are correct, about 10 laps from now, he'd have to come to pit lane. Everybody else will not more than likely be coming to pit road, and he could find himself trapped a lap down under green flag conditions. It's interesting, too, you talk about the fact these drivers trying to get used to pack racing with the next-gen cars. If you look at the 2 incidents that have brought out the cautions, it's really come down to judgment mistakes rather than drivers over aggressively pushing another driver or making a move that's door banging somebody or something like that. So we talk about the period of adjustment for the drivers, for the crew chiefs, for the pit crews. Might also be a period of adjustments for the spotters in knowing just exactly what these cars do on the racetrack, how big of runs they can get, and subsequently relaying that information to their drivers.
that is true. And another thing about these cars too that's new with the new one that we didn't have before, they have the little rear view camera also on board inside the car. That could be something these drivers it's kind of giving them their own opportunity to really make judgment calls on their own. They may see some before the spotter does, and that could also maybe have led to some of these incidents too, because maybe we saw in that first wreck the 44 may have thought he was clear of the 12, and then maybe he just misjudged it before the spotter told him. We don't really know. And then we saw with the 25, maybe another one of those calls, maybe I can slip in here and then I can get down. Like I said, it's just a big adjustment deal for all these drivers. A lot of growing pains, and like I said, it's only week 1 of this. Like I said, it'll get better as the season goes on. It's just a lot of growing pains to kind of get this figured out, but we'll see what happens here. Maybe they'll clean it up as we dwindle down the pack.
The super speedways are always wild card races, always unpredictable. We got a few of them that are on the schedule here this season. And of course, everybody wants to win the Daytona 500, but I guess the good news for the fact that we've already lost almost a quarter of our field is for those drivers, there's still 25 more races to be able to try and win your way into the playoffs. Yeah, it hurts to not be in the running for this big race as checkered flag, but at the same time, it's not like this is the regular season finale and you absolutely had to win here to advance into the postseason.
That is true. And is it kind of like how real life points are? Do you have to be in the top 30 to be eligible with the win?
Yep.
Okay. Now you have to also keep that in mind for these drivers. They don't want to get a bad start to the season and be in a hole in points right off the bat. But nonetheless, we're back green, and RJ, we're going to see what he does with his strategy.
Well, if RJ stays out in front, his fuel problems are going to exacerbate. We'll see if maybe these drivers back here that have more in the tank, if they're going to be aggressive and try and put the 98 towards the back. Rob Evans in the 65, who started shotgun on the Daytona 500 field, pulls up to his back bumper. He's got Chris Dollerton with him. Dollerton going to move low there with Quentin Moore. We saw this in the duels too. It was almost kind of like 2 drivers having the same idea, so it looked like a block, but just kind of 2 drivers wanting that same piece of real estate there.
Yeah, for sure. So far right now, RJ Bishop staying up front, and it could be also bad for him being the leader right now, because you're not saving fuel when you're up front, and he's already in a deficit. And well, as soon as I say that, Rob Evans like, I'm going to get the lead. I want something good to happen this week for me. He gets his bonus point right there. But yeah, I mean, RJ, at least when he's in a pack, he'll be able to save a little bit of fuel, but he's still definitely going to need a quick caution to kind of get cycled back with the pack in terms of fuel-wise, like the strategy.
And you can see right there, I think the 98s maybe waving drivers on by. I saw Reggie Fogelman jump up. Looked like he wanted to go around the outside 3 wide on the 98 through 1 and 2. Now Bishop going to tuck in line behind Rob Evans in front of that purple and gold number 24. But I think RJ is trying to get out of Dodge right now.
Quentin Moore had that interesting deal under yellow with Joshua Osborne there and the 24 Fogelman when they were all become, I guess, 12 tires deep and stuck together. As trying to lead a lap here, but I think Austin the Plant's going to edge out. Yep, 48, give it to him. He's going to lead this lap with Ali Liera right behind him as well. I was actually going to mention one of the people I think we're going to have to keep an eye on today is definitely the guy in that 38 car. Jose Mills, he's up there. He's survived so far. I think he's had maybe the best car this entire Speed Weeks. I think he's just been able to do what he could do. We saw what he did in the dual race. He was able to get back to the bottom and just drive up there and steal that win back that he had the lead for a while, but I mean, if he can survive, I think he's going to be a player we have to watch for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of eyes are on that 38 car. And yeah, granted, he led the most laps in his duel by benefit of the fact that he and a couple of others were able to get off of pit road ahead of pretty much the majority of the pack. But at the same time, to your point, once he got dropped back in traffic, when that second group caught them, he was able to fight his way back up to the front. So yeah, keep an eye on him as Blue Oval Automotive looks for their second Daytona 500 victory, and Jose Mills looks to continue to add to his total most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series, the only driver with double digits, 10 career wins in this series.
Yeah, that's true. So we saw Charles Sanford lead that last time by, and now Butcher is back to the lead, and got the 80 here of Noah Hendrickson right here. That 80 car and the 78, like I said, there's only 5 Toyotas. I think 3 of them are up in this front pack. I may be wrong. I see the 77 as well. There's not many of them compared to everybody else, but they've so far looks like they've survived so far these wrecks. I mean, I wouldn't sleep on those Toyotas. They've been pretty quick, and they seem they can get to the front pretty fast as well.
Yeah, they've got 5 Toyotas that are fielded each week, 3 out of Auto Junction Racing, 2 out of Haas Racing, and maybe more importantly, all 5 of them are still running in this race. None of them in the garage, as Mitchell Collins took a look there on Hendrickson. Unfortunately, Hendrickson had an exit to the top side in front of the 24 of Reggie Fogelman. Now, you'll notice there's only, I believe, by last count, 17 drivers up in this lead pack. We do have a second pack further behind, being led by Daniel Voiles. It's going to be kind of having to try and figure out who all is up to speed, because I think we had some drivers that had damage that restarted ahead of drivers that are up to speed, so they didn't get the best of a jump when that green flag came out for the restart. They're now in recovery mode trying to reel this lead pack back in. There you see them, the 26, the 8, the 27, and others.
Yeah, and them racing it up, I think, is going to definitely help them out a lot. That way they can kind of get single file and draft the way back to the front, because like I said, it may go green for a while here. These guys, it's kind of back to the size of a pack from the dual races, but that doesn't mean they're not going to wreck, as Mills is trying to block. Oh, well, he's going to have to pick a lane. Nobody's going to give him one. Oh, my goodness.
I don't think he was clear halfway down the backstretch. He is going into 3, but that was sketchy.
Yeah, Levi McIntyre now looks like he's going to take the lead just for a second.
He might have clipped the apron right there, did Levi? You saw how his car shot up the track. I think he got his left side down on that yellow line.
Yeah, it looks like it's there.
Second pack's caught. Daniel Voiles has caught this lead group. Matt Haas about to do the same. So if all those drivers do end up catching up to the tail end of this pack, I think we're going to have roughly about 21, 22 cars in this lead group. Dylan Poteet heading up the inside there with help from William Hoer as the plant drops down, along with Ryan Butcher.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to keep a gap here. They're actually pulling a little bit away from the pack there, him and Butcher. And let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, we saw that happen a couple times in the dual races. We saw the leaders, they could actually tandem for a short period of time and kind of pull away from the pack when everybody's racing. And we saw what we're seeing here with the 48 and the 78. But I don't expect it to last very long, as it looks like they're already back up here, about to catch him once again.
Keeping my eye on that 98 of RJ Bishop, because as documented, he hasn't come to pit road yet. Now, we have had 2 caution periods, so he could have saved a little bit under pacing in terms of fuel, but Be interesting to see when he ducks down there to the inside line and makes the indication that he's coming to pit road. One would assume it'd have to be pretty close to now, because we projected about 25 to 30 laps that you could make it on a tank of fuel, and we're just now completing lap 24.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up soon, and the pack's a little spaced out compared to what we were dealing with earlier, so that may bold to be bad for the pole sitter, unfortunately. And he's also, I think he's down at the bottom now, so he has to make sure he's at the bottom, because you don't want to run out of gas and be in the wrong lane where you can't get to pit road.
Now, remember in the second duel race where we ended up having the lap machine of Rob Evans really kind of mix it up, where we thought it was going to be a three-car battle for that dual victory. They got slowed up, and the big pack reeled them in, making about 14, 15 drivers in the conversation for taking the checkered flag, and there they go.
Oh, there was... they were
Evans,
about
hard
wide
hit.
again. Nick Gunther and Anthony McCurry. Oh, that's a bad deal for Fortnite Squad Racing. And Rob Evans is a pinball, getting hit by everybody. Joshua Osborne spinning wildly. Oh, there's the 78 hitting the 74. Man, that was a big wreck, and that was a saver right there for RJ Bishop. But I think that started around where he was with him and Laura Chung.
I thought at first they were going to save it, and then I thought that maybe most of the cars would spin to the inside. But to your point, the 65 was spinning around the middle of the track, and a number of other drivers were collected. And then Evans just ran to the back of Hendrickson.
Oh, and then he's going to come down and hit Butcher. Wow. I don't know if that was I'm not happy with you kind of deal or what that was.
I'm going to be curious to go back, look at this replay, and see if the 80 and the 65 made any contact, because...
Yeah, we probably got to watch the pack in the back up here, make sure they don't slam into each other on the backstretch. We've seen that happen, but yeah, there's a lot of
damage on that 27. I think he
and
Nick Gunther both took big shots to the 65 through the trial.
Dylan Young's got damage there, and Nick Gunther took a hard hit. I think we're going to have a few more drivers, unfortunately, dropping out of this, but
a number of these guys had actually just caught up to the lead pack as well.
I'm not sure if the 09 had a front end or not before that wreck.
I think
it may have been from earlier.
Yeah, I think it was from the stack up. Ryan Butcher's on pit road in the 78. Yep. Of course, the 78 last season with the combination of Butcher, Diego Yepes, and Alexander Rowe. They were the regular season champs.
Chris Dollarton ends up being the leader under this yellow to lead him down pit road. But I mean, I'm curious. You were bringing up the point that I think RJ Bishop was needing to pit soon. I mean, it may have been a complete coincidence, but I'm pretty sure that wreck was triggered between him and the 77, and he's going to get his pit stop he needed. But I don't know. Just raises eyebrows about just kind of the irony of that happening.
Let's go back, take a look. This was off turn 4, heading into the tri-oval.
And that was a big wreck.
We're not going to have a lot of drivers left the way this is going.
No. I think we need to go find this 98 and the 77 here. Let's see. They get stacked up. Daniel Voiles, he didn't know which lane he was going to, and Laura Chung was trying to avoid hitting him. And then RJ Bishop kind of finished it off.
Oh.
Sanford, oh man, Evans got hit hard. Man, they all just slammed to the 65 there, and I think the 55.
So I think, as we look back, I think Evans was actually trying to go up to avoid the wreck. And remember I mentioned there were some drivers that were just reeling back in the pack, so they had a lot of momentum. And I think the 55 of Nick Gunther was trying to make a pass around the outside, and all of a sudden the door closed on him.
Yeah, he was actually tucked in behind Michael Norman. It's hard to see when you're behind some of these cars as well. You can see the 80 go around. The track is blocked. The 03, Charles Sanford, I think, did the 360 and kept going. Yeah, the 65 just came up nowhere to go. I mean, man, Rob Evans got hit hard. There's a 63. We didn't even mention Ryder was involved in that either. Dylan Young got a piece of it. There's 78 come back into it. 74. Oh, my goodness.
And then remember we ended up having the incident there between the 65 and the 80. I think I found why the well, actually no. I thought maybe it was the contact between the 80 and the 65, but actually I think it was the 80
He's a couple
and the
cars
78.
ahead.
So watch this.
80 gets turned up into the 26. They're spinning.
All right, so the 65 never gets hit by the 80, but watch this up here. Remember the 78 had that follow-up hit to the 80 after the 65 did? Watch this crossing the line. Hendrickson going to pull right up and give a little shot there. The back of the 78 car. I don't know what that's all about.
Not really sure. And then Rob Evans, maybe he saw the two Toyotas spinning and he turned up the track, and that's when he got hit by Nick Gunther. So that may have been why he was kind of aggravated right here as well. Because let's see, Osborne goes by.
The wall. I think something was wrong with that car. He was up against the wall. I'm almost wondering if the throttle was stuck or something there and he couldn't slow. It was like he was
Yeah,
trying to
but
scrub off speed.
I'm not quite sure, but yeah, it's an unfortunate deal, and I think we're going to have a lot of cars. The garage is becoming a junkyard, it looks like, here at Daytona. We're going to have a lot of guys not continuing on, and we have more wounded cars that are not going to be able to keep up with the pack. So, like I said, we're only a quarter way through this race. We're not even halfway, and we've lost a big chunk of the field, that's for sure.
As things stand right now, 5 drivers officially out after what we just saw there from turn 4 to the exit of the tri-oval. Joshua Osborne, Nick Gunther, Anthony McCreary, Noah Hendrickson, and Rob Evans. 78 of Ryan Butcher still sits on pit road. Looks like they might be trying to get that car back out there, but he is already 1 lap down, might lose more. And as soon as I say that, they are now wheeling his Toyota Camry back behind the wall. So that is going to leave us now with 24 drivers left to run this race, and doesn't necessarily mean all 24 of those drivers are up to speed either. I mean, as I'm looking right now and trying to figure out who's got damage, who doesn't, if I'm not mistaken, I think we got maybe
There may be half a dozen back there with damage that's maybe off the pace. I know Kyle Matthews
drivers
has,
back to Carson Gum that might be okay as far as up to speed.
Yeah, and again, the beneficiary of all that happening was our pulsator RJ Bishop, who's still alive and now back in sequence with everybody. So it ended up working out for him. And yeah, like I said, the number is dwindling down. I didn't know how long we would go with these wrecks and stuff happening, but I mean, these guys are still racing like it's the last lap. But somebody needs to tell them this is an 80-lap race. We're only lap 28. This isn't a 30-lap race like it was in the dual races. So not sure.
Matt Haas, defending winner of the 500, going to be the one to lead us back to green. We saw everybody come down pit road under that caution period, so they should be good to make it quite a distance before they'd have to come back down pit lane for fuel. Chris Dollerton, who was first in, lost a spot on pit road, so he'll restart second. Will Hoer is up to third. 4th place for Reggie Fogelman. Austin LaPlante in 5th. Your top 10 going to be completed by Laura Chung, Ali Liera, Dylan Poteet, Levi McIntyre, and Mitchell Collins. We've got 24 drivers still running, all 24 on the lead lap at this point in time. We're getting close to halfway, but already 3 cautions in to this 80-lap event.
Yeah, and basically half the field is not even racing anymore. So, I mean, you would just think by the number dropping, the racing's going to get cleaner, but I don't know if that's still the case with what we've seen so far. We've just had some misjudgments made, and fortunately a lot of big wrecks, and that last one definitely was the biggest of the 3. So, I guess we'll have to see what these drivers think here as we try to get going again, and see if we can get a little bit of order in place here for the next few laps. Just got to get some laps under our belts.
Now, the one thing that usually happens, and I say this, you know, with air quotes, because, you know, super speedway is always unpredictable. You think you figured it out, and all of a sudden, no, it's entirely different. But usually when we end up having races of this type and the field starts to get thinned out, the likelihood of a caution coming out gets slimmer and slimmer. So, with the fact, to your point, that we've got about half of our field back behind the wall, the chances of us getting into a long green flag run continue to increase. We'll have to see if that's the case here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see for sure. And like I said, we have some cars maybe stuck behind some slower cars here, so the pack may even be smaller than the 18 you said. We'll have to kind of wait and see once we get going, because I know we have a couple cars in the back with a lot of damage, and sheet metal even ripped off the car like Kyle Matthews. So we'll see what happens here, and Matt Haas will bring us back to the green flag, and we'll see what happens this run.
Yeah, this caution was a big break for drivers like Kyle Matthews, Ryan Brommer, Benjamin Snyder. I believe all of those drivers, if we had continued to stay green for another 10 laps or so, they were in danger of being put a lap down. So they were able to get that yellow, remain on the lead lap, and of course with another half dozen drivers behind the wall as well, if that engine's still running, it may not be up to speed, but if that engine's still running, every position is a point.
That is true. I mean, you can bring a wrecked car from lap 5 and end up with, like, you know, maybe a top 10, 15 run or even better. So, I mean, it's worth staying out there because you have to stay out there to the bitter end because you never know what could happen in these races, especially like maybe at a last lap wreck, I should say.
Reggie Fogelman going around saying, "Where'd all my drafting help go? They were lined up
to the
top
bottom,
4, nose to tail down the back straightaway, and then suddenly the 8, the 43, the 83 all jumped to the inside, and Fogelman was left all by his lonesome on the top."
They look at him and tell him, "You take the high road and we take the low road."
And again, we
Looking
mentioned
back,
this back
yeah.
in the duels, the fact that just because a lot of these drivers don the rookie stripes, it doesn't
Ooh.
necessarily mean they don't have any experience in these race cars in other series. Reggie Fogelman's actually a former Duracell Cup Series winner last season, but didn't make the required 15 starts prior to this year, so he is still considered a rookie.
Yeah, and just like that, the pack is all back bunched up together once again. Maybe these drivers haven't learned their lesson. Back 3x3, they don't care if they have 42 cars in this field or if there's 12 up here up front. They're still going to keep that same racing going. And yeah, like I said, just people may have forgot about Fogelman having that win. Like I said, with the basically not being eligible to make the playoffs, so he had the minimal starts. But yeah, it's the mixed bag. Like I said, most of these drivers have some sort of experience, and then there's a couple that didn't. But I think nonetheless, we still have seen a lot of mistakes made, even from rookies all the way up to veterans of the series.
Well, that was quite a battle to the line there for that lap lead. Give it to Ali Liera, 17 1,000ths over RJ Bishop, 25 1,000ths over Dylan Pote when they were 3 wide to the line.
And we've got about 12 to 14 cars up here in this front pack, looks like. I guess we've got less of a pack than we originally thought. I thought Daniel Voiles back there was trying to hang on. He's lost the draft. And then beyond that, everybody behind him either probably have damage or just off the pace at this point.
Yeah, I believe it is 15 drivers up in this lead pack right now. Michael Norman, or that wasn't Michael Norman, I'm sorry. Oh, no!
Oh, the leaders! Oh, did they say? Oh,
they almost saved it. LaPlante is around, William Hoer, and Michael Norman.
Oh,
Look
the track
out,
is going to be
oncoming
blocked.
traffic.
I'm worried about this part. Oh, they're not cleared. The track is still blocked. Nobody's slowing down.
Look out.
Be reasonable.
They made it.
Oh,
They all got
I
it.
was waiting, man.
They
I
all
was
got
waiting
it
for the
straight.
second pack.
That was...
I was thinking we hadn't saw the worst part yet coming. Ooh,
That was a hold your breath moment right there for sure.
man.
LaPlante, Hoer, getting some pretty good
I think
damage out
Liera
of
got
that.
some damage. The 16's got some damage.
That was at the front. Liera was leading.
Yeah, they were battling for the lead, and somebody just... I think Liera may have been the
think
one
it
that got
was-
hooked. I'm not sure.
Oh, I think it was Collins that
Or
might have
Collins,
started
yeah.
that, because I was going to mention when I mistaken him for Michael Norman, he looked very indecisive through the tribal. Like he wanted to go low, then he jumped back up to the top, and I think that indecisiveness, everybody else was like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, I guess take what I said about calming down and just throwing it out the window at this
Stop
point.
saying they're
because
calming down. I think that's the problem.
I think it's getting worse. This kind of looks like an actual NASCAR race at Daytona. It just seems like as the race goes on, it gets worse.
Let's take a look at what
just have
happens
only
here.
5 left.
So I want to
Yes,
go back
okay.
here off of turn 4. Watch the 33, the Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Watch how he kind of... It's like he doesn't know which lane he wants to be in. He's going to stay in the middle. Then he's like,
Yeah,
I'll go to the bottom. Then he jumps back up to the top again.
Oh my goodness, I'm not really
48
sure.
kind of came up into him. At least from
Well,
that angle it looked like.
I'm not sure. That was kind of one of those. I'm not sure why these drivers are being very indecisive. Oh, that's not going to help your teammate / car owner hitting
Right.
them. I don't think Michael's going to appreciate Mitchell hitting them there, but no, I mean, it looks like he didn't know if he wanted to follow LaPlante on the bottom or stick with Sanford there, and he kind of was indecisive. It was a hard angle to really tell, and the 16 unfortunately was just a bystander to that deal. Maybe, I don't know if he was trying to split the 2 leaders. Maybe he was trying to get between them and the door closed, and once that happened, he hooked the 48 into the 16, and then all she wrote right there.
Yeah, from that angle you could definitely see the 33 did come down.
83's got some damage. I think the 43 also has damage. I don't think Matt Haas got any damage. I think he stopped and avoided that somehow in the 8. So he may have got away from that unscathed.
And we got very lucky that group of stragglers, that everything kind of settled out and they got pointed in the right direction, because you had the 38 that was sitting sideways in the track, the 22 was sitting sideways. There was every possibility that there could have been a plow.
This could have been big. Like, the fact, I thought for a minute we were going to have it saved and we were going to keep going. Like, for a split second, I thought we were going to save it. Yeah, see, the 20...
Oh, wow,
the 22 definitely... excuse me, the 33, sorry, Logano scheme.
Was he trying to side draft?
I'm not sure. The tri-level is definitely not the place to do that. I'm not really... That's a questionable move there by the 33. And that was also not a very good situation there for Michael Norman Motorsports, because both of their cars there, I think that was left, got caught up in the wreck. I'm trying to think I forget who else is on the team right on the top of my head.
Dollarton.
Who else? Oh, Dollarton was in the wreck too. There was 3 of them right there together. Yeah, that was a bad turn for them. I think there was one more car. I'm trying to remember, but can't remember.
I think that's all of them.
Well, that was not a good
I think
moment
there was
there.
team.
Well, that I don't know if anybody else got sent to the garage there, but that definitely did not help a lot of cases there. Yeah, well, I guess we'll just continue to be aggressive, I guess, in this race. I guess they're just been told the wrong number of laps we're running today and think we're going to 40, apparently.
Guess so. Oh, actually, they are a 4-car team on Michael Norman Motorsports. I forgot about Rick Johnson.
Oh, yeah, he was
he's
out
back in the
early.
garage
Yeah,
area already.
well, yeah. It feels like forever ago lap 5 was when that wreck happened, or 3 or whatever it was. I'm not sure. Do we have any reports of anybody going to the garage from that wreck?
Nobody from that wreck. We had a couple of
Oh,
drivers
okay.
with extended stays on pit road, Ali Lear and Will Hoer amongst those, also Austin LaPlante, but they all have returned to the track, so we'll see if they're up to speed. So the light's still on
Gotcha.
here. We're nearing halfway. We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. 4th caution of the day here, not even halfway through the Daytona 500. It's coming down to a survival of the fittest here in the Duracell Cup Series season opener. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this break. We're back at Daytona, getting ready to go back under the green, nearing halfway in the Season 6 Duracell Cup Series Daytona 500. Lap 37 will be complete. Lap 38 will go on the board. It's Quentin Moore who will lead us back to green. RJ Bishop, our pole sitter, in second. Laura Chung, Dylan Poteet, Daniel Voiles. That's going to be the top 5. If you're just joining us, we're working our 4th caution of the day, and it has put, by the last count, a total of 18 drivers back in the garage area. 24 drivers still remain. They're all on the lead lap as green flag flies once again at Daytona.
And we can say for that last one, as I already mentioned, nobody new went to the garage from that wreck, so that's a plus. For now.
Yeah, for now. If we had those drivers, that second group come in, we would have had some retirees.
We may have had about 10 cars going to the garage and maybe a couple of hospital visits.
RJ
Just
Bishop
like-
going to go to the point there. No driver in the history of the Daytona 500 as they're trying to get around
Kyle Matthews. Yeah, I was looking back there. I think that may have been why this pack got separated big
that
time.
car looks like it's more suited to run at Bowman Gray than it is Daytona. Of course, Kyle won at Bowman Gray, though, so...
You don't have to worry about that car overheating, that's for sure. Getting all the air he can need for that car. Uh-oh. Ooh. Man, the Michael Norman Motorsports teammates there, 33-22, also had another close moment. Don't know if they're really looking eye to eye at each other right now with what happened at last yellow. I was actually looking around. Did Chris Dollarton, did he get up ahead of these guys? Because he was involved in that wreck. Did he pass them?
Yeah, he's going to lead.
Well, he's leading.
He's going to lead, so I think that's a yes.
I guess his car's okay.
I was going to mention, no driver has ever gone pole to win in the Daytona 500 here in Duracell competition. So RJ Bishop's got a chance of doing that here today.
And look at the outside pole sitter, Levi McIntyre. See, both front row drivers are still alive in this race.
Ooh, that's
big
close.
block by Dollarton.
Well, you want a little bit of Duracell Cup Series lore. When Chris Dollarton ended up winning the championship back in Season 1, he and Levi McIntyre were teammates in a 2-car effort, Rock and Ranch Racing.
Well, they're rock and ranching right now as they're battling for the lead. I don't know if that made sense or not, but I went with it, so... And the caution, honestly, was a big break for a guy that's about to take the lead now, Daniel Voiles. We saw him. He got too far back and actually lost the front pack. And that caution, honestly, was the best thing that could happen to him because now he's up for bound to lead in Brendan's front pack once again.
Daniel Voyles still looking for his first career win here in the Duracell Cup Series. He does have a non-charter win back in Season 4. That was at Watkins Glen, but yet to win a chartered race here. And what a big one it would be if he could clinch the checkered flag here at Daytona. As Dollarton, you saw him actually use the third lane down the back straightaway to move down to the bottom and still take the race lead here, coming to the start-finish line. You talked about the ability of lead changes here today. Well, so far, the driver that's led the most laps, 6 in total, is Quentin Moore. You've had 4 laps led by RJ Bishop and
that was close, speaking of RJ.
and Samuel Ryder. 3 laps led by Chris Dollarton, who led just last time by. Also 3 laps led for Austin LaPlante. 2 laps apiece for Michael Norman and Rob Evans, and then drivers that have been out in front for 1 lap include Levi McIntyre, Laura Chung, Ali Liera, Noah Hendrickson, Cody Lamas, and Jessica Shelton. The bad news for about 4 of those drivers is they got laps led, but they're in the garage area, so they will not lead any more laps today. Oh, this is not good.
Oh, Levi McIntyre and Chris Dollarton are really close together. I'm not sure what that was about.
I think Quentin Moore actually might have just put himself in the wall to avoid that being our 5th caution of the day.
Oh, that was a close one. I was also going to mention the field is dwindled down once again. We had 12 up here, but some of these cars are starting to actually lose them. I know Dylan Young's back there. He's starting to drift back. Carson Gum. You see the 88 there as well of Jack Durned. He's also having problems. He's hanging on barely, but I know those cars have some damage. So we honestly, we may be looking at the rest of the field that really hasn't gotten in a wreck yet, as we're about to have one. Oh my goodness. Chris Dollarton.
What are they doing? The 99 and the 43, they are not giving each other any room.
Are you sure these guys were teammates?
They were, but it was a long time
Oh,
ago.
we're getting close to get. Oh my goodness, the side drafting by the 43, super aggressive with Matt Haas. Well, Dollarton's not laying down, that's for sure, in this race. Man, he's going for it.
Well, it's happened in the past where a driver that has ended up winning the championship has only won 1 race that season. Dollarton did it back in Season 1, where the only race he won was a dirt track, Fuel Motorsports Park. The following season, Season 2, Ryan Acosta only picked up a victory at Martinsville, but went on to win the championship. So, you know, for some of these guys, not only are they trying to win the Daytona 500, trying statistically in the past 5 seasons lock themselves into the playoffs with the win, but also maybe have it be their one and done race win on the season, and maybe try and follow in the footsteps of a couple of the former champs.
And maybe follow in the footsteps of a former NASCAR champion, Matt Kenseth, just having the consistency after a 1-win season. I mean, he did it, Benny Parsons did it, or Daniel Hemrick, who's the only one is that championship race. That's true. And this pack's definitely dwindled down. Those 2 or 3 cars that were straggling around the back have lost the draft. We're actually down to a 9-car pack now, so this is going to be interesting. Now you got to have to look at the blend of drivers left in this. I see a lot of Fords. I think there's about 4 or 5 Fords in this 9-car pack. So then you have to start taking into account who are you going to work with now, because, I mean, a lot of these drivers lost their friends, their teammates, and maybe some of their manufacturer help. So it's going to get interesting. I think some of these cars back here, these guys, I think, are up to speed. Unfortunately, we're caught behind, I think, Kyle Matthews and a couple others. But these guys, if they get a yellow, we're going to see a bigger pack for sure. And I'm actually starting to wonder, is that 88 car maybe off the pace? Because they have just slow. Oh, my goodness. There is a slow check up here. Carson Gum doesn't even have a back bumper.
No back bumper. That doesn't actually affect the speed, believe it or not. If anything, it's just visible damage. But if you have damage to the back end of the car to Super Speedway, normally you're okay. But if you have damage to the front...
There's not a lot to push, though, for somebody like LaPlante. Or maybe you can. Oh, he's going to come back up. Oh, my goodness. Contact.
Well, there may not be a lot to push, but LaPlante found that one piece that you can actually push, and he nearly pushed Carson down to the inside wall off of turn 2.
Now, I'm starting to wonder with the 88 if he may be the car that's holding everybody up here, because they have not been able to get around him just yet. He's going to come up and block Ali. Oh, no, they're going to split him. Now we're going to see if they can leave him now, because he seemed like he was off pace. And, yeah, there's some contenders still in this pack, I think. The bad news is they're multiple seconds back now, and they're going to really need a caution or something crazy to happen up front.
Jack Dunn, Dylan Young, Carson Gum, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were drivers that were involved in that stack-up under pacing after the caution wave for the 2nd time.
Yeah.
So I think that's why the 88's off the pace. I'm not sure about the 19 and the 2, if they're at the same. I think they caught the 88 as quickly as they did because they were nose to tail. You kind of had the 2 versus 1, but I don't know if they've got a difference in speed to him.
Something just happened to the 16 car there. I'm not sure what happened because you saw how far away she got from the pack, and then she stopped. I'm not sure. That was just weird. Like somebody gets out ahead, and then I don't know.
Well, Allie did get involved in that wreck when she was out in front. That kind of chain reaction wreck between herself, Austin LaPlante, and Mitchell Collins. I didn't take notice of just exactly where the 16 hit the outside wall, whether it was with the side or the front end, but if you end up getting front end damage, you know, your car can be really good in the draft. You can draft right up, suck right up to the back bumper of somebody, but once you then get out in clean air, it's almost like you've hit a wall. It's like a parachute is all of a sudden engaged from the back of your car. So that might have been what happened with the 16.
Yeah, and that may be an unfortunate deal for her for the rest of the race, because that's not going to be good. If she's in position to win this race, she gets out front, that car may just drop like a rock in speed, and then she's in trouble. So maybe she can stick with the pack. She's going to be a good pusher, but she can't be a good leader now, unfortunately. And that's the thing with these cars. They're so aerodynamically just affected by little things like this. And we're about to run into trouble here for the leaders. I believe there's a slow car up ahead. We're
Two
about
slow
to
cars, Sam Ryder and Kyle Matthews.
Well, we hadn't had this happen yet in this race, but we're about to see it, and they're going to go double wide.
Well,
that's the worst case scenario for these leaders.
Where are you going to go if you're Matt Haas in the 8?
I don't know.
There's nowhere to go.
Well, that's good news for the second pack. Gives them a chance to a little bit catch up. And Matthews is going to hold it on the bottom and not go around. They're all trying to get underneath them, and they will.
That second pack
Ryder's
was 8
still holding up
seconds
Mills.
behind, so I'll keep an eye on the telemetry, see how much they were able to close up.
RJ Bishop, I think he thought Matthews was going to get out of the way. He moved up and got stuck directly behind him. The poster and Jose Mills is stuck there. They're going to have to go because they're going to lose the draft. This is it. Like, we don't know if we're going to see another caution anytime soon.
They might be okay. They might be okay. If they can stay in touch with the 43, I think the 43's got the 99, so that could have been a lot worse. I think they're going to be able to stay in the lead group.
Yeah, that could have been bad, and that's what we brought up at the beginning of the race. This issue here is we got another battle for the lead between Quentin Moore and Matt Haas. I mean, there's going to be a lot of slow cars. We got another one coming up. This is going to be an issue for the rest of the race for these leaders. And look at the run the 31 to 26 just had. They tandemed together right up to the leaders. Man.
That next car is the 34 of Nathan Ormond, running in the 22nd position. And it's interesting here, too. We haven't yet had a long enough green flag run to know exactly how far these drivers can make it on fuel. We went back green with about, 42 laps to go? There's the possibility that we might end up having these drivers be able to make it on just one more pit stop.
That is true, and man, they're really getting stacked up behind the 34. Yeah, it's going to be a matter of, I think, surviving and then just timing it right, make sure you're going to pack that pits together because, yeah, you're going to need some drivers to kind of go with. You got to have some drafting help, and I think they're 4 wide back there for a moment, maybe or not.
For a moment they were. Chung was looking for a wide, but I think McIntyre had cleared around Nathan Ormond, so it was ended up being 3 wide.
Yeah. And the 89, unfortunately, got so far out there by himself. He had no help. He was slowing down, and they just caught him in a heartbeat there. He's got help from the 31, but, yeah, that's going to be a product of just things that happen here. And Chris Dollarton slicing his way up the middle. And of all people helping him, it's going to be that 99 Levi McIntyre. You think teammates, enemies, I'm not sure how they've been racing today. You couldn't tell either way, but they're working together once again.
It's funny you bring up teammates. There's a lot of Fords up here in this group, but I'm not seeing any teammates. So if it ends up coming down to green flag pit stops, probably manufacturer alliances as to who you come to pit road with, right? Rather than teammates, because that's not an option anymore.
I would think so. I think we have 5 Fords up here in this front pack. There's 2 Toyotas, and I think there's 2 Chevys.
Saw the 38 have to check up there. You could see the exhaust pipes there, the flares coming out as he had to bail out of the throttle.
And that 87 is going to hold the inside lineup. They're not even going to wait for him. They're moving him out of lines that we've got to go. See ya.
That's Ryan Romer, 21st place.
And I was
more about a straightaway ahead. I think that was Mitchell Collins and Benjamin Snyder. They'll probably get reeled in, well, then the next maybe 7-8 laps.
Yeah, it's the possibility. And we haven't been to pit road. It's been a little bit since we pitted. I'm starting to wonder if maybe that's getting ready to come into play. We may see these guys pit anytime because, like I said, it's going to get to the point. I think we're going to get to a fuel window that may be able to make us get to the end potentially on one more stop. It just depends. It's more important about the fuel, I think, than the tires for these drivers. We may see some strategy even as well. Maybe some guys will take tires, and maybe some will just do fuel only. I'm not sure, but you kind of have to find some friends to do that with you because you can't do it by yourself. And somebody that's not finding a friend right now is Matt Haas, who is for some reason got glued to the 87, fellow Toyota driver, but he's lost the pack.
He has. That's not good for Matt Haas. And I think the bad news right now is I don't know why he hasn't made a move to the inside. I think he's faster than the 87, but
Yeah, he's basically pushing the 87. I'm not really beneficial to him. It's honestly hurting him more than anything. And
really
yeah,
is.
he's lost contact to the front pack. So now we're down to 8. That's the Toyota gone out of that front pack. So now Laura Chung is all alone. The lone Toyota left up here in the front pack. Now what is she going to do? She lost her partner.
Now, I know obviously there's got to be some alliances that'll take place here if we do have this final pit stop under green, but do you maybe just kind of go outside of the box of manufacturer alliances, make sure your spotter indicates to every single driver in this pack, let's all pit together. Let's keep this between us, because right now there's only 8 drivers that we see right there that are in the conversation for this victory, barring a caution, bunching everybody else back up.
Yeah, 1 in 8 chance of winning this race is a lot better than, say, 20 or 15 or what it might be. But, yeah, that would be a smart move as we got our pole sitter back up front. And for this moment, we're going to look at it. The top 2 to start today's race are 1-2 once again.
Yes,
How
it's
about
really
that?
impressive when you look at the fact that 3 of our top 4 starters are up in this lead group. You've got the front
Oh, yeah.
row,
Yep.
Bishop and McIntyre, and our dual 2 winner, Jose Mills in the 38.
That is true. Yeah, Jose's kept his nose clean for the most in this race. And like I said, I think he has one of the best cars here. And he's still up there in contention, so he's definitely got a great chance. And we are about to catch another, I think, car here too. Uh-oh. It's the 33 and the 74, and they, once again, double wide.
I
Seems
think
like
if
they're
you're
just
the
doing it on
98, you go up
purpose.
to the 3rd lane. I think that's the lane that opens up when they're double wide ahead of you. You
33
might
looks
catch
a
him by
little
the time to get off of 4.
The 33 looks a little bit faster than the 74. I'm going to try to see if they slip by him here. 74 is holding up the top. 33 is holding up the bottom. Oh, now they're all both at the top. Worked out for RJ pretty well.
So I'm trying to crunch the numbers here, and I believe if these drivers are able to go another 10 laps, they should be able to make it the rest of the way on 1 tank of fuel. If they
Yeah, I
hit any
think-
time prior between now and like lap 65, 66, that says to me that some of these guys might be on fumes in the closing stages, and it may come down to who's got the guts to stay out and who's going to come down, take that little bit of splash to make it to the end.
Yeah, that is definitely true. As Daniel Voiles is taking the lead. I'm not sure if he's led a lap today, but it's the first time he's up front. He's maybe trying to get his first lap led here. We
You
got
would
3
be correct,
Fords
he
trying
has
to pull
not led a
away.
lap, so this would be the first if he holds it.
And we've got a couple of cars that are stuck behind the lap car. We may have just lost 2 more cars in the front back. Jose Mills and Dylan Poteet are still trapped behind the 2 lap cars, and it's not good for them. I think the 33 is not too slow, but at the same time, these guys just got stuck on the wrong lane, and that may be bad news for them.
Mills
As the
now getting
38
around-
finally gets through. Yep.
Yeah, gonna get around Snyder. Remember,
Now,
the
the
33 and the 74, they're still battling for position. That is a battle between those two for 19th. And we talk about every position mattering, every point mattering.
And the important thing for these 2 guys here, the 31 and the 38, they have to get hooked up and go because they're going to lose the draft. They're in big trouble. And we may not get another yellow, so this may be their race right here.
They got to
And they
stay
need these
lined
guys
up,
to
and
race.
they need these guys to stay double wide because the drivers that
Well-
get kicked to the high side, then they drop back, and that brings the gap of where you could pick up the slipstream. That kind of lessens it. I think they've got the
Well,
draft
they
at the
started
26. I think they're okay.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, as soon as I said they need to work together, the 38 said, no, I'm going around 31.
They're not listening to us.
That's kind of how the trend has been today.
They're
Just
either
don't
not
work with
listening to
anybody.
us or they're not listening to you because
It could be
you
that.
ended up telling them to calm down. They didn't calm down. You're telling
Yeah,
them to
that's
line
also
up.
true.
They don't line up.
I tell them not to crash, they crash.
Yep.
And
Well, now
So,
you see
yeah.
the benefit of having a manufacturer. All 4 of the Fords lined up on the top. Quentin Moore was trying to make a pass for the lead. Couldn't
we're
do it.
catching a slow car. It's going to be, like
88.
Charles, or it's 88.
Jack
Yeah, they're gonna,
Dunnard.
oh, I thought they were going to split them. That didn't work.
Oh, there you go. There's some help for a Chevrolet teammate.
I don't think the outside is going to appreciate that. That's for sure. Yeah, we thought he was up to speed. I think it's the car. I think as the run went on, that the 88 definitely was losing power. May have more damage than they realized, and they're trying quickly to get him out of line. I think Levi may have just shoved him out of line there. Just 'cause, I mean, that's what the leaders are going to have to do. These guys are not going to yield for them. These lap cars. I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, you got a race to win. You can't be waiting on somebody that's off the pace.
Well, we talked about the odds of one of our former Daytona 500 winners doubling down and being a multi-time winner. The odds are continuing to slim out because Carson Gum in the 19 is the next driver that these leaders are on par to catch. That'll be a couple of laps still, as he's about 20 some odd seconds ahead of the race leader. Matt Haas, the defending winner, he's still running well in the 9th position. The bad news is he's heading that second group, and they're about 8.5 seconds back.
Oh my goodness, they just caught the slow cars of the 09 and the 63. This is round 2 of getting around these guys, and man, these are probably the slowest 2 cars on the track, unfortunately.
That
There's just
second
nowhere to
pack
go.
is saying, wreck, we need this caution.
Dylan Pote didn't know where to go there, and I think Jose Mills like, thanks for giving the bottom. I'll just take the lead. Daniel Voiles is in a pancake of slow cars back there as well, and he's trying to get away from it. He did.
Almost
Cut
chopped
down
the
for
nose off
RJ.
RJ Bishop to do it.
Yeah, he had to make a quick move. That was one of those judgment calls. You got to hurry, or that may be your race. Looking back there,
Ooh,
the
Quentin
89
Moore.
is Quentin
That's
Moore's
not
in
good.
trouble. He needs to hurry and get behind the 88 there. He needs to get some draft, but he got caught in the worst position on the outside behind those cars. He's going to need this 88 to give him a little bit of a draft and then let him go. But the bad part for him in this situation, he's the only one that got stuck there. There's not another lead lap car with him there like it was with the 31 and 38. So he may have a hard time actually staying with the pack.
Quentin Moore and Laura Chung, the only 2 rookies up in this lead pack. We have never had a rookie win the Daytona 500. Obviously,
Man.
season 1, there was no previous season, so that wouldn't count, but it's always been a veteran that has won the season opener here in the Duracell Cup Series.
I was sorry there for that moment. Levi McIntyre down the backstretch for some reason just like went up and blocked Dylan Pote. I thought they were going to wreck there for a moment as we have a drag race for the lead. I think Mills, kept that time by. He did. Yep.
I can't figure out this love-hate relationship between the 43 and the 99.
Yeah, here we go
see them nearly
again.
wreck each other. We see them work together.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I think they're trying to be nice for now, but no friends later on in this race, that's for sure. And unfortunately, it looks like the 89 of Quentin Moore is not going to get as lucky as the other guys did. He's by himself. He got around the 88, but he's lost too much time, and he's out of this front draft now.
You saw just
Kind of the
moments
same deal
ago
with
there,
Matthias.
Carson Gum. He's now caught the lap machine of Nathan Orman, so those 2 might be racing together when this group catches
Laura
them.
Chung. I've actually noticed, I think everybody up in this pack is led, except for Laura Chung. I think she's just kind of buying her time back here. We've talked about her a lot
nope,
this weekend.
Chung's led.
Oh, well, I guess maybe just recently.
Everybody inside our top 12 has at least 1 lap led right now, and 14 of our top 15 have all led a lap. The only one in the top 15 that hasn't led is the 83 of William Hoer.
There's still a lot of crazy blocks going on in this race. I'm still surprised.
I'm not throwing out the realm of the possibility of another caution coming out.
Is it possible for a 7-car pack to cause a big wreck? Absolutely.
Yes. It's possible for a 2-car pack to cause a wreck.
So we're looking here, and there are 5 Fords, 1 Toyota, and 1 Chevrolet now in this front pack. I mean, you would think, you look at this is a Ford race to win now.
Oh, for sure.
But how they're racing each other, I don't know. They're not playing nice.
Still waiting to see when these drivers come to pit road. I think we're getting close to that window now where they'd be able to make it the rest of the way. Yeah, so I bring up the point of back in Duel 2, we had the opportunity to see... Did I just see a caution out? Caution's out! Yes! The yellow flag is out!
Oh my goodness.
I just saw yellow lights off of 2. You can see them flashing down the back straightaway. This changes up everything.
Yeah, and this gives some other drivers an opportunity to get back in this race. I mean, we just saw the 89, the 8, they lost the pack. And we even had some more drivers even further back that didn't even have a chance this run. And everybody's scrambling like it's the last lap coming to the line. Looks like Jose Mills is going to slip away with the lead here. Going to block like crazy. And, well, we may have had a big wreck. Are those new?
I'm looking at my telemetry. I believe it was the 22 of Michael Norman that might have been the reason for this caution.
There he is on the apron right there. He was one of the cars in that big pack that lost the front pack that I thought was still up to speed, but don't know if that damage is new or not. He should be. I think he should be staying on the lead lap because he was ahead of these.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much more damage he got on that Dr. Pepper Mustang, but I guess we're about to find out. He goes around the pace car and he's going to catch back up. But
Carson Gum, Charles Sanford, and
save them.
Dylan Young. This saved them from all going a lap down, which they probably would have in the next 10 laps or so had this stayed green.
There's Michael Norman. Something happened pretty far back. Oh, he's spinning there.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
we
So
got
this is
more
that
involved
slow
than
pack.
originally expected. Sanford and Collins were in this as well.
They caught the 63 and the 09. This is that second pack. See, Matt Haas even fell back to this pack. Oh, Sanford actually gets into Norman, turns him into his teammate.
It's not the
33.
first time we've seen the 22 and the
Oh, my
33 make
goodness.
contact.
And those are 3 lead lap cars. Well, the 33's up. That's a couple right there. Norman. Oh, no. Oh.
Well,
that might have been payback.
And that might have taken Norman out of the running. I think after
I don't
that
know if that
spin,
was
he would
worth
have been
that.
perfectly fine and up to speed, but getting
That
that
was-
damage on the right front, that...
Showing his
Ooh,
displeasure.
I kind of
Yeah.
feel like cooler heads should have prevailed there.
Showing his displeasure for Sanford. You think you're going to make it count him on the front end where it's really going to hurt, but he just ran to the back bumper of that 03 Coca-Cola machine. I'm not really sure about that one. I mean, they had to take into account the 09's there, he's slow. The 63's there, he's slow. They had to work their way around, and just patience may have not been taking place there. And I don't know. I just think that was a moment there for Norman. Just a little hot-headed there, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that was worth it. I bet the 33 thinking, what the heck?
And at the same time, though, 03 was kind of sliding down the track, so I'm almost wondering
I'm
if he
not
thought he was
sure.
going to clear him. So, well, there's only 2 people that know what are going on, and maybe only one of them knows really what happened there, so...
Yeah, we have to keep an eye on that and see what the damage looks like.
We
and
got
I believe
about 10 drivers that are jumping for joy right now, because they're back in the hunt for this checkered flag.
Sanford's getting some damage. I see Austin LaPlante still sitting on pit road. Not sure what's going on with that car. These are all lap cars here as the leaders come off pit road. It looks like Jose Mills will retain the lead. You got Dylan Pocheat there as well as Laura Chung. Well, what looked like was going to be a 7-car battle for the win, I think it's going to open back up again, at least 10 or more now.
This brings William
We'll have
Hoer
to
back
see.
into the conversation, Reggie
Matt Haas.
Fogelman, Matt Haas, Ali Liera.
Oh, let's not check up and hit each other. Oh, my goodness. Oh. I don't know why they have oh, the 89's got oh, no.
Damage.
Where did that come from?
Was there something
That's a
on
lot.
pit road?
That was a lot of damage for Quentin Moore.
Let's find out.
Well, somebody's got some rear end damage, that's for sure. Does this happen in pit road? Oh, RJ Bishop? Did it come up pit road? Where is RJ at? I thought he had the first stall. Coming up pit road here. Did he pull out right in front of him? Oh, no.
He did. Oh, wow.
One of the front runners still alive in this race. I don't know how bad he may have to go back to pit road to fix that. I don't know if he's going to be off the pace for that. And then RJ's got probably significant damage to the rear bumper of his car. This is the worst case scenario for these drivers. You ran all this race, survived all the mayhem, and you're one of the only cars without damage, and then this happens, and you know that could be a busted radiator on the 89. Unfortunately, I mean that may be race ender right there.
Quentin had lost the lead pack just prior to the caution after he'd gotten
Got the
trapped
break.
behind some lap machines. Yeah, and this caution put him back into the hunt. Had a strong car, too. He'd been out in front in this race for 9 laps. He's actually tied for most laps led, along with the current leader, Jose Mills.
That's just unfortunate. I mean, and when you're the pole sitter, you think you just pull out and
wow.
Man, into the garage. That's race ender there for the 89 car. That's a tough break. And you would think if the pole sitter just drives straight forward, I'm not really sure why RJ turned onto to the right, the lead pit road. You know, being the pole sitter, you just go forward and hit the line. That's where you're going to be. You really have no need to go to the right. So that's that's kind of avoidable wreck for sure there. And I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I was the driver of the 89 car with the 98.
I'm not certain, but I think we might have had another stack up at the back of the pack when they were all getting themselves slowed up for pacing. Because not only is Quentin Moore out of the race, but it looks like Dylan Young, Michael Norman, Benjamin Snyder have all gone behind the wall. And I'm being told right now as well, the 63 of Samuel Ryder. No, he was only 2 laps down. He's actually making a regularly scheduled stop. Kyle Matthews is also out of the race in the 09. So both of our co-defending champs, neither one of them are going to get a Daytona 500 victory here today. It's interesting when I look at the reason for retiring for Kyle Matthews. Remember, he had no hood, the whole front was exposed? Radiator leak for the 09.
Well, some things just don't work out in your favor, I guess. And even if you have all the air in the world,
that radiator, to be fair.
I mean, I guess that was the case as well. That car it probably just overheating, just honestly just being on the track and driving. It had so much heavy damage on the front end, but that's going to lighten up a little bit of the slow cars as well that we were dealing with, because we know Kyle Matthews was one of the slower cars, but we still have the 63, 88 still out there, I believe, the 87, the 34. I mean, it's not as bad, but we're still going to be having to keep an eye on that for the end of this race. I think we're going to have that happen at least maybe one more time if we stay green. Before the race is over, I think we'll have to deal with some slow cars, but this is it. I mean, this is the closing stage of this race. The pit stops, I think they're done for the day, it looks like. We're coming down. It's not too long from now. It'll be 10 to go. And it's go time. And here's something that's going to be interesting, too. Look at this. Inside row, we got lap cars coming up here. I don't actually recall this happening all race, but here we are here. It's happening.
We'd never had any lap machines
Oh,
when
man.
a caution came out prior to this one. And you consider the
before,
fact that we're only about, 3 laps away from 10 to go, where if we had hit that point, we wouldn't have had these lap machines. It would have been all single file.
So this could be an issue for the back half of the lead lap cars because you're having to deal with, looks like 5 slow cars on the inside.
So
and
you're saying we may not be done with cautions.
Well, it could be that, and it could be some issues for some of the guys toward the back. They may get hung up behind these guys, and what if we don't get another yellow? This may be it. This is our last chance. They have to get going. I'm looking back there at drivers, maybe as far back as RJ Bishop on back, maybe those last 5 or 6 cars in the lead lap. They might be in trouble here, because if they get stuck behind these cars, I mean, it's over.
With Quentin Moore's departure, he's going to be finishing 20th, which means that all the drivers remaining, they'll finish inside the top 20. Furthest they can
Sounds
finish
like a real life race.
19th. Yeah, pretty much.
I've seen a couple of races in person, and they only had about
14 drivers on the lead lap right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think a couple of the 500s I've seen in person, I don't know if more than maybe even 20 cars finished either of the races I went to, so.
So you're saying that you're to blame for what's going on here?
I bring wrecks, I guess, anywhere I go, it looks like. And we've seen plenty of them today.
Which is weird, because you weren't there for the Clash, and that was anything but a clean race. That was a wreck fest and a half.
I must have been thinking about the race, and that's all it took.
Telekinesis.
But nonetheless, I'm not even sure how many we have on the lead lap here. I was actually trying to count real quick. About maybe 12,
back
14.
To LaPlante there.
Yep. So we have 14 cars. So there's 14 drivers with a chance to win the Daytona 500. And one of the dominant cars this weekend is out front, Jose Mills. And it looks like we're going to have a first-time winner in this event, which what you said with some of the others dropping.
I don't know. You got Matt Haas and Carson Gum still in the lead lap back up here now because of that caution.
Yeah, Carson's the one that I'm worried about having the speed. Matt Haas, I think, still has a chance. You're right. I may have overlooked that, but there's a great chance for a new winner. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. We may get the small percentage of a repeat winner in this event, but it's go time now. I don't think you have friends anymore in this race. I think now it's just all about you. You can put yourself in the right position to win this race and set yourself up to try to win the Daytona 500. And that also includes blocking.
Yeah, with what we've seen with the ability to be able to get runs and make moves, if you're trying to work with a teammate, you're thinking too much. You've just got to have your eyes focused out that windshield right now as Jack Dunnard in the 88 holding up Chris Dollerton, Levi McIntyre and company. There you see the 16 of Ali Liera. This caution helped her to be able to get back into the conversation.
I tell you who this is a big, huge break for is that 83 up there, Will Howard. He was nowhere in the picture at all, and he's up here actually just taking second place away, I believe, from Jose Mills, and he's trying to challenge. Actually, it was Dylan Pote. There's 2 yellow cars, sorry. But he's going for the lead. That Lego car is flying right now, and he just was unfortunate to be stuck behind those lap cars the last restart and lost the pack. His car is perfectly fine.
What an up and down week it's been here at Daytona for Will Howard. He was in the top 5, if I'm not mistaken. Top 5 or 6 in pole day qualifying, but then he ended up finishing way down in the running order in his duel. Started this race from the 39th position, and to your point, ended up having to wait an eternity for a caution to get him out of that second pack and back up here into the hunt for the victory.
And I can't believe we can say it, Seth, but we are at 10 to go.
We are at 10 to go.
It's time.
You also have to remember, too, we saw the Blue Oval Automotive Fords of Jose Mills and Caleb Fogler work together in the closing stages of the second duel. The 83 and the 38 are teammates.
That is true. So we got a couple teammates now that can work together. So we'll see how that works out. If that becomes I guess a closing point of this race. As Dollerton looks like he's pushing Poteet out here. We're doing that little tandem we've seen on and off throughout the week. Kind of get out there a little bit and then see what they could do, but can't do it very long, I don't think, in these cars. It seems like there's a lot of overheating issues and such, and have to let off and kind of back off to make sure you don't blow your engine.
You talked about the fact of having those lap machines on the inside. It could play havoc with some of the drivers near the tail end of the lead lap being able to stay with the lead group once everything's settled out. Looks like a couple of drivers have fallen into that trap. Looks like Reggie Fogelman, Matt Haas, Charles Sanford. Austin LaPlante, Carson Gum, they got held up too long behind those slower machines, and they've dropped off quite a bit from this lead group, which now totals in 9 drivers.
We're about back to where we were before. We just added a couple of new guys. So the big beneficiary from this, honestly, was Ali Liera, we talked about, and also the 83 of Will Hoer. They weren't up here in this front pack. Kind of just cycled out, gave them a second chance at this race. I mean, I wouldn't count either one of them out. They've been pretty clean. I'm impressed with that 16 car especially. We saw the contact that she got in that wreck early in the race, or actually about midway through it, for that lead.
From the lead,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, I thought she was in trouble, but they must have did enough repairs at 16, or they may have got lucky. It didn't really affect the car. Maybe it was all side damage. And that Aqueduct Solution Chevrolet is still up and running and in contention easily to try to win this race.
5 Fords were nose to tail on that inside line through 1 and 2. Looks like they may be the top 6 by the time we get out of turn number 4. Chris Dollerton showing the way. Dollerton's trying to do something that only one other driver has done here in the history of the Duracell Cup Series, and that's win a 500 and a championship. Carson Gum's the only driver that's done that. Won the championship back in Season 4, won the 500 in Season 3. Dollerton, of course, won the championship back in Season 1, and trying to get his first Great American Race checkered flag.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this, but RJ Bishop, after all this happened in this race and in that pit stop, is somehow running in the top 5. That car
Oh,
is...
no!
I
You just
say
jinxed
that.
him. Oh, 31 hard in the wall. Jose Mills and Levi McIntyre.
Well, maybe I should open my mouth.
And the caution is out.
Well,
I think we're going to get back on a restart here.
I may have just jinxed it. Every time, it seems like everything happens around RJ. And that may have taken out a couple more contenders.
For sure.
I don't know how bad the 31 hit there. He kind of slowed down before he hit the wall. Jose Mills definitely not the same case. Probably the best car down here in Speed Weeks at Daytona. And I think his chance to win the 500 is now potentially over.
Oh, look how.
Levi.
Wow.
Well, Levi, I guess, is taking into account that he's still battling for position. That's actually kind of surprised as Matt Haas is back here. Was he involved in that, or
No,
did he not keep up with the pack?
He got stuck behind the slower machines.
Oh, okay. Well, he's got another chance.
Atlantis, too.
Well, here's the thing now, too. Some of these drivers that got held up, they're going to be ahead of these lap cars. It's going to be single file. So, but how few laps we have left?
Yeah,
this
Sanford and
might be-
LaPlante, they might be at a disadvantage because they're going to be still behind slower machines unless those lap cars pit. But Haas and Fogelman, I think they were ahead of the slower cars.
Well,
nobody's coming to pit road, I don't think. So let's go back and see what happened. From what I saw, it kind of almost just looked like Levi McIntyre got too close to that left rear quarter panel of RJ Bishop.
I'm not sure if he got any damage out of the wreck or if he kind of got out of there unscathed, but unfortunately it took a couple of innocent bystanders there out in the 31, the 38. I think RJ is going to avoid getting any damage. All he's going to do is really go down and hook the 31. The 31 actually hit pretty hard, and the 38. Man, Levi still hit the wall pretty good too there.
The way I said it, put the blame on Levi, but to be fair, when you look at it, the 98's the one that kind of swaps the lane from the top down to the middle and wasn't clear on Levi.
I can honestly think after this race, we're going to have to say that RJ Bishop is definitely the Brad Keselowski of this race, because it seems like he's been around all the action today, whether it's been on the track or on pit road, or the shenanigans staying out, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the 31's, that's going to be a lot of damage to fix. And the 38 may be done for the day. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for those two. And if RJ somehow pulls out and wins this race, it's going to be kind of wild to see after the eventful race he's had. But we're only going to have maybe a lap or two left in this. So not going to be a lot of racing left.
Bishop might have to come to pit road because he was riding the wall all the way there through 1 and 2 onto the back straightaway.
See, I'm not sure how bad the damage is on the 31 because he slowed down quite a bit there before he hit the wall. But like I said, the 38 full speed ahead went into that wall and just probably broke the suspension on the right front of that car. Well, I was wrong. They're both out.
This is a race of irony because, we say things and the drivers do the opposite.
Yeah.
The sponsor on that 31 is Peak Antifreeze, which is a coolant. The reason for the 31 out of the race, coolant leak. Like, you can't script this stuff. What the heck?
You just can't script it. I mean, that driver must be upset. He couldn't believe it. You think the sponsorship wouldn't do that to him, but it is what it is, I guess.
He's losing his cool in more than one way.
I guess so. Well,
Jose Mills is also out of the race, so it looks like
a couple of big hitters that were there at the end seem like they're out of it now. But
they'll
now
get 18th and 19th, it looks like, in the finishing results today.
This is going to get interesting because I think I'm just looking here. I don't know if we're going to get the green flag. It's going to be at least 2 to grow here. We may get the 1 to green. We're looking at maybe a 2 or 3 lap shootout. And if we get another yellow, the race is over. So next flag will end the race. So now the interesting part is we've talked about this has been one of the topics and one of the headlines this whole weekend down here in Daytona has been Ford. Look at the front. I believe 4 are Fords.
Yep.
We get a Chevy in here in 5th, a Toyota in 6th. You got another Ford, Toyota, Chevy. I think 33 is the lap down. I think it'd be another Chevy in Carson Gum. And this is a testament to the drivers that stuck around this race and are just kind of driving around. They're going to get solid finishes toward the back. I mean, they're looking like top 15. Some of them may even get a top 10 with damaged cars. So I think we talked about at the beginning of the race. It's a survival race. It looked like it was going to be, and this is where we are. Like I said, if you're still in it, I mean, you're going to get a good finish, and you still have a chance to win the Daytona 500.
And Mitchell Collins, Ryan Brommer, Jack Donner, and Nathan Norman, who are all a lap down, they're going to be battling for 13th place in this final run to the checkered flag, and 13th is a heck of a lot better than 33rd.
That is true. And we didn't get the lights off there that time by, so I'm going on a limb to say this might end up being a one-lap shootout. Yeah, well, yeah, is it going to be a one-lap shootout, potentially?
I think it'd be a green-white checkered, because if the lights go out at completion of 77 onto 78, we'd go back green on lap 79.
Will that be 2 laps then? I didn't know if it showed 79 or
that'd
be white or not.
So, yeah, and of course, too, the extra lap is because we have the lap machines. We probably, if we didn't have any lap cars, would have had the lights on the pace car this time and had a 3-lap shootout.
Man,
With
this is
how
going to be
difficult it's been to hold the lead, though, I don't know. If you're the 43, do you want more laps in case you lose the lead to then be able to charge back up? Do you want less laps here? I'm not sure what you want.
Yeah, I mean, Dollarton's going to have the restart of his life here, and he's going to have to somehow be able to hang on to lead. And if they have a quick yellow, just make sure he maintains the lead just for even a lap. It's been tough to do. I think pretty much every restart we've seen the leader get shuffled pretty quickly, and with only being potentially 2 laps to really make it up and get back up there, I don't think that's enough time to recover. You just have to kind of get lucky. I mean, we saw Jose Mills kind of recover in a lap and was able to recover and get back up there and take the lead within the next lap and win the second dual race, but I don't know. It's going to be tough. I mean, this is the Daytona 500. It's everybody for themselves at this point. Everybody wants to get back first to the line and win the race, playoff spot, be always known as the Duracell Cup Series Daytona 500 champion. I mean, there's a lot on the line right here in these 2 laps.
I'm honestly really surprised that we've only had 6 cautions here today. We lost a
Only?
big bunch of the well, to be fair, I mean, we lost a big bunch
They've
of the
been very
field in the first
impactful.
half of this race. So, yeah, exactly. I mean, they've definitely played their part into whittling this field down. But the way things were trending in the first half, I would have expected us to be maybe up around 8, 9 cautions at this point in time. So, a little bit surprised that we've only had 6 as we are getting set here for... It's going to be, obviously, the final restart of the day, not necessarily our final caution. Race could end under yellow if the white flag waves or the yellow flag waves between now and the checkers, but these are the drivers left to settle it out. Chris Dollarton, the leader, Will Hoer in 2nd, Daniel Voiles 3rd, RJ Bishop 4th, Ali Liera is 5th, Laura Chung 6th, Levi McIntyre 7th, Matt Haas is in 8th, Reggie Fogelman is in 9th. Those drivers, to my knowledge, are ahead of the lap machines. Then you've got Carson Gum, who's in 10th, Charles Sanford 11th, and Austin LaPlante in 12th. Carson's got 1 lap machine in front of him. I believe 33. Charles and Austin have 3 or 4 lap machines in front of them.
Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate for them. Carson also he's going to have to get around that 33 fast, but I mean, the first few, all the way from the 43 back to the 24, I mean, I think it's mainly going to be a race between these guys right here and girls. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see what's going to transpire from the events of this race right here at the end.
If you're looking for first-time winners here in the Duracell Cup Series,
we got a bunch.
3 of them. 3 of them up here at the front. You got Will Hoer, Daniel Voiles, and RJ Bishop. Well, actually 4. Add Laura Chung to that mix. So they're all looking for their first career win. All the other drivers have been to victory lane. Only Matt Haas and Carson Gum are the only ones that have done it here at Daytona.
They got Hoer and Chung, both rookies. I'm not sure, has a rookie ever won the Daytona 500 before?
Has not. They have not.
So that's also something that could potentially happen with the 83 or the 77. I think they're the only 2 up there that have a chance at it, but
Ford's
we
looking
shall
for
see.
their second 500 victory. Toyota looking for their 2nd. Chevy's looking for their 4th. But the numbers are definitely in favor of the Blue Ovals as here we go. green, white, checkered. It's Chris Dollerton leading us down through the Geico restart zone.
And both the front row drivers that started the race up are still up there. We still got the 98 and the 99. So one of them can still also win this.
That was a good jump for Dollerton, but it might have been too good. Now they're going to be double file for second, so that might be a saving grace for the 43, because if they stayed nose to tail, they would have reeled him in really quickly off of 2 down the back straightaway.
And for the most part, most of the leaders are pulled away from the lap cars. I think the 33 is still in the pack. So Carson, we have 10 cars right now in contention to win this. I don't know what's going to happen here. It's going to get crazy, I think.
Sanford trying to get by some lap machines there. Bishop starting to fall back in the middle line.
Yeah, he got freight trained there. The 16 and the 8 just ducked underneath them, and him and Laura Chung are just kind of holding up that group, and the top 3 have scooted away.
This time
Dollerton kept the lead.
White flag will be displayed. Dollerton, which lane does he take? He'll block the top, now move to the bottom. Can he lead the final 2.5 miles?
And this is the best case scenario right behind him being side by side. I was shocked he actually kept the lead. He proved us
Here comes
wrong.
Matt Haas. Look at the defending winner. He's going to go for 4th.
Flying. And Hoer has cleared Daniel Voiles, and Matt Haas had a head full of steam right there with Levi McIntyre. Dollerton's going to have to really make this car wide down the backstretch.
Matt Haas going to tuck in behind the 83.
Oh,
Hoer's going to have a big run going into the 3rd corner. Will he look to the bottom?
He's trying. He hasn't gotten close enough. Dollerton's going to cut him off. I don't know. I don't think it's over.
Where does Hoer go? Is Dollerton ready to throw the block here off of 4? Dollerton keeps it pinned, opens the door on the inside. Here comes Will Hoer to the line. Chris Dollerton, I think, got him by a splitter. Chris Dollerton's the Season 6 Daytona 500 winner. He kept them all at bay in those final 2 laps.
Man, all that for it to come down to a photo finish and a Hamlin Truex style finish.
6 1,000ths of a second, our telemetry's saying.
Wow. Well, Dollerton proved us wrong. He proved me wrong. I didn't know if he's going to be able to do it. He held on and never gave up the lead. How about that?
What a week for Ford.
And Ford won.
They swept the whole week. They swept the whole week. They got the front row. They got the dual wins. And Dollerton follows it up with a 500.
Well, if it's your time, it's your time, I guess. The Ford just had it this week. Man, I don't know if it gets any more dominant than that.
I believe this is Chris Dollerton, only his 2nd career victory. The only other victory he had prior to that was that win back in Season 1 at Fuel Motorsports Park.
Yep,
but he now joins Carson Gum as not only a former champ, but a Daytona 500 winner.
And that was a big one for him, too, because that locks him into the playoffs. So now, basically, the rest of the season, just stay in the top 30 in points. You've got a guaranteed spot into the playoffs and battle for another championship. So I think their mindset's going to change going the next few weeks. Just try to get points to stay up there and maybe even try to do some strategy to try to get some more points and bonus points and wins.
I think that finish deserves a replay.
I think so as well. I thought they were going to get a big run down the backstretch. Dollerton, I thought, was going to have a little bit of trouble there, but 83 didn't get to him quick enough because Matt Haas, I mean, he came out of a cannon there on that last lap. He was just like, I think he was about 5th or 6th, and he's already up there pushing to 83. And he's going to clear right there, get ahead of Voiles.
And look how the gap closes up there between the 43 and the 83. I thought for sure at least Hoer was going to show the nose, but I guess he didn't have enough of a run.
I was getting some flashbacks to Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano in the 2021 Daytona 500. If it was going to be a disaster there with Move, and Haas was going to play Michael McDowell, but he's still on his bumper there, and he even have Daniel Voiles. I mean, he just didn't get to him quick enough. Just was an unfortunate deal. I mean, it was a big recovery.
If this was Talladega, Hoer's won this race.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
It's Daytona.
But you had to look at it this way, too. It's a big recovery for Hoer. Great first race for him with this new team, and I think it's his first start as well. Almost won his debut. And, I mean, him and Matt Haas, they had an eventful day to even be up there. And Ali Liera, she's going to get a top 5. Daniel Voiles had an eventful day. And the front row, I think, finished together in 6th and 7th back there. But look at this finish. It's crazy.
Goodness.
And
I'm really surprised that it almost was like Dollerton opened up the door to William Hoer on that inside line, and Hoer was definitely going to take it. But we saw on some of the restart, or actually the cautions, when they raced back to the line, where the driver on the outside would move up there to the outside line and still win the battle back to the stripe. So it kind of feels like Dollerton knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah, he seemed like he was making some big moves during the race. I think he learned a few things coming back to the line for yellows and just on restarts. And like I said, he's a crafty veteran, former champion. I think he was able to see what he was doing there. And yeah, I mean, it was close. It almost cost him there, but nonetheless, he was able to do it. And think he's got his ticket into the playoffs now. Now it's just looking forward to the rest of the regular season.
William Hoer almost became the first rookie to win the Daytona 500, but the streak extends to 6 straight races where a veteran takes the checkered flag in the season opener. That's a great follow-up run there from Matt Haas. Strong last year, got
Absolutely.
that checkered flag, and got the 3rd position here today. Daniel Voiles, a great performance for that single car entry. In 4th, Ali Liera. You talk about second chances for drivers like William Hoer. Same for Liera to get a top 5.
Got in a wreck. Well, bound to believe was an innocent
Exactly.
victim. The fact that that car was still driving is a miracle, honestly.
And you
Because
mentioned
considering the fact the other two that wrecked with them was gone, so
And you mentioned the front row there, finishing in 6th and 7th, but look at some
stuck
of these other
together.
guys here, just inside of the top 10. Laura Chung, great run for that rookie. Reggie Fogelman brings it home in 9th, and Carson Gum, damaged and all. Both of the former winners of this Daytona 500 in the field, finishing inside of the top 10 here today.
That's just a testament, just sticking around and just going to the very end. And like I said, Carson had a car. It looks like that wasn't in contention at all. It gets a top 10. Pretty sure they'll be happy about that for sure. And we already talked about Laura Chung for sure. I think she's going to be. This is what we're going to expect. I think out of that car this season. I think she was up there, didn't really make a lot of noise, but she was just there. But I think she's going to have a very consistent season. I think she's going to be a quiet threat for the championship, and she showed it today, even with the lack of teammates that she lost there towards the end of the race. Was able to stick around, keep her nose clean, and got an 8th place finish.
Talked about sticking it out. That's why Austin LaPlante and Charles Sanford, they're going to come away with finishes on the lead lap in 11th and 12th.
Eventful
Maybe
day for
off
them.
for sure. Maybe off the lead lap, but Collins going to get 13th, Dunnard in 14th, Ryan
Mhm.
Brommer there in 15th, Ormond and Sam Ryder going to be the last cars to finish in 16th
Survived.
and 17th. But again, though, the net gain of points that could have been if they had called it a day when those cars were involved in the multiple wrecks we had in the first half of this race, it's huge.
Yeah, and then we get to the rest.
Yeah.
The big list of
Then you get to the
DNFs.
spectators.
We got everybody that just had a nice view of the race,
And there's a couple of
including
them here
myself.
that you look at that almost made it to the end there. Mills and Poteet obviously were up there at the front for a good portion of that final run. Got
Quentin
involved in late
Moore.
race wreck. Quentin Moore, I mean, that one right there.
That still hurts.
It
Yeah,
was Pit Road that got him of all
the pole
places.
sitter. Yeah, I think he's still not going to be very happy with RJ Bishop. They may have a talk after the race with that deal. That could have been avoided for sure.
You got Michael Norman there in 20 seconds, so both of our dual winners didn't make it to the conclusion of this race. Dylan Young, we really never got to see what he had, as he was involved in the early stack up after the second caution and was
I
fighting
think there
that
was another
damage the
one you
remainder
said
of the race.
after. Yeah, I think there was the second one he got caught. So he just kind of had a on and off bad race. And Benjamin Snyder, I think, was also with that with Michael Norman. Those three and Kyle Matthews, I think, were involved in that one. We didn't see, but and then we had a bunch of big hits today. Joshua Osborne, Nick Gunther, Anthony McCurry, Hendrickson down there, Butcher were in that big wreck. Rob Evans, that was a big wreck. That took a lot of contenders there. That big wreck on the front stretch. Unfortunate for them, none of them were able to continue.
I believe from Osborne in 25th on down, none of those drivers even saw lap 30. They were
Yeah, it
already
was a
back in the
short day.
garage area.
And then we saw the bottom three didn't even see lap 5.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they retired out of the race. I believe it was on laps
There's-
3 and 4. So
Yeah. So what a wild race. That's all I could say. And then because it comes down, we get a photo finish out of it. I mean, it's crazy. It's what do you expect? I guess out of some of these restrictor plate races, just had to be there for the end, and came down to the 6/1000th of a second.
Well, the Daytona
That's all it was.
500 is the race that everybody wants to win to open out the season, but I guess as well, Daytona's the measuring stick. If you come out with a good finish, then you're looking ahead at the next few races and trying to figure out how you can keep that consistency going. But for a number of these drivers that didn't even see halfway, they've got nowhere to go but up. So now they kind of adjust their strategy and just how aggressive they'll attack some of the upcoming races, including Manassas next week, to gain back the points that they lost.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, the mindset definitely has changed now because everybody wanted to win this race. They're all in trying to win it, but now really you got to get back into focus and getting your mindset. Now the season's really started. You guys have to start getting the game plan going, get your cars ready, and really start points racing, trying to get a win to get locked into the playoffs. So the mindset definitely is going to change here. And yep, but that's it for Daytona, and now we move on to there and the rest of the season. So we're going to have to wait and see what all happens and see who our real contenders are going to be this season for the championship. We already have one driver that looks like they're locked in. As far as we don't have more than the number of winners for the playoffs, I think it's 16, I believe. And
As long as they stay in the top 30 in points as
yeah,
well.
yep, that's the other goal for Chris Dollarton. So we'll have to wait and see. But the real race for the championship, I think we're going to see it start next week.
Well, it was a lot of twists and turns here today at Daytona to eventually get to the crazy photo finish that sees Chris Dollarton as a Duracell Cup Series Daytona 500 champion. We appreciate everybody joining us for this broadcast here tonight. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We showed your full finish results, and you're now seeing the point standings heading into next week when we are at Manassas Speedway to kind of continue the fallout from today's Daytona 500. Dylan, it's been a crazy speed week, so I appreciate you joining me for every step of it here in the commentator's booth. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been fun. I got to see a lot of fun and crazy action here at Daytona and a lot of awesome racing. We finally got to see the yellows we've been waiting for all week, and it all rewarded us in a photo finish between Chris Dollarton and Hoer here in the 83. Can't ask for anything else, really, honestly, in this race. I guess in third-person perspective, wish I could have got the 500, but it is what it is. Long season, a lot more opportunities for all of us to get another win, to try to get a win, and try to race for the championship. But I appreciate you having me up here, and it was a blast to be up here for this. It's been a long time coming.
Absolutely. Well, it's the first leg in a long journey to find out who are going to be our playoff contenders for the championship. Daytona has already played its part. We'll see you guys next week at Manassas. For Dylan Poteet, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for joining us here today for another broadcast on NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.